Sup guys, it's your boy OTG. Today on the channel, I want to talk about the Xbox 360. It seems like it's a popular topic amongst YouTubers, gaming YouTubers in the retro space because the store is closing. And yes, Xbox 360 is retro. That's a little argument that I've been having with my friends. It's just a friendly argument going back and forth, but it's retro. The store's closing. Come on, that thing's been around forever. But in saying that, I have a lot of good memories with that system, and there were certain games that got delisted, especially arcade games that I like now that I regret not getting. And this was a perfect opportunity for me to look into modding the system. And I just wanted to spread the news that I think anyone that feels comfortable with a soldering iron that wants to open up their system should do so. And it doesn't take too much. Now, the references that I use is going to be Xbox360hub.com. I will leave that site in the description. That site had a RGH3 guide, and that's going to be the hack that we're going to talk about, the Retro Glitch Hack 3. It's been simplified. It's been a hack that's been around forever. Now, all you literally need to do is solder 2 wires underneath the board. One of the wires you'll have to solder in a resistor, but it's no big deal. Also, as a guide, I used Mr. Mario. I've always used him for modding. Great channel. I will leave a link to his channel in the description. I recommend the Xbox Slim. That's the easiest way to mod the system that you guarantee that's going to be modded. And the way to determine which kind you have, if you have a Trinity or Corona, look on the Xbox 360 Hub website. There is a identifier program that Octo put out. It helps out big time. So you can determine whether you have a Corona or Trinity. If you have a Trinity, it's pretty much going to be straightforward. Follow the guide. The Corona, it's a little more difficult because you have different versions. You may have a 4 gig model that you have to solder in a different area. You may have a model that doesn't have the post, so you have to put a post adapter. All kinds of good stuff. But anyways, one of the most tedious parts of this mod is when you solder one of the wires underneath the board, you're gonna have to expose the via. Basically, get an X-Acto knife, scratch, just be patient, don't scratch too hard, and just work at it to expose the copper of the via. That thing is so small. What I'm showing you right here is underneath a microscope. So if you can buy a cheap microscope, I would recommend it. And once you expose that via, if it's possible to flux and tin it. And if you can't tin it, if you have trouble, just be patient. But if you have trouble, just at least flux it and solder the wire to it. Now, once you got the 2 wires, it's pretty much straightforward. You got 2 wires, following the guide, where to solder your points at. Then you're going to turn it over. What seems easy is going to be 6 to 7 wires, just depends on your configuration. You're going to solder for your flasher. Now, for a flasher, you can use a Pico, which I recommend. These things are super cheap. You can get them everywhere. I would try to go for an official one if possible. You don't want to have any issues, so try to find an official one. They do have them on Amazon, or an X flasher right here. Was it X Flasher 360? I haven't even used this. These are about $50, but I would recommend the Pico. Now, the hardest part is soldering those wires for me, because soldering them on there is fine. Maybe it's the Pico flasher. It just, a lot of times I had trouble getting the wires to read. Some Xboxes, they went through fine. Some of them, I had to just do it many times, even under a microscope, feeling comfortable with my soldering. I had issues with it. So I don't know if it's the Pico flasher, but to me, that was the hardest part. But once you get your flasher hooked up and you're able to read your NAND, the program you're going to use is called JRunner. Man, I got to say, this program is really awesome, because I messed up one of my Xboxes, and there's actually, this program helped fix it. I was able to create a donor NAND. But anyway, so you use this program to basically build and rewrite your NAND, and that's how you do your mod. Once everything goes through successful, man, it's awesome, because you're able to launch a custom dashboard, Aurora. In this dashboard is where all the magic happens, man. You can play your 360 games. You can hook up an external drive. Now, I will leave a link to Mr. Mario's guide because it's not straightforward, but once you get it down, super easy. And if you want to throw that external and load it up with as many games as you want, you can. And you can play all the 360 games. Now, there are limitations into the way you play multi-disc games and stuff like that, which I haven't dug into, but it is possible to play them. Just take note of that, but I haven't got that far. I just did the mod, but I've been enjoying 360 games, but my favorite part is the arcade games. I'm a fan of arcade games. The 360 Xbox Live Arcade, to this day, there's been no systems that showed love to arcade games like the way Xbox did. And that was my main reasoning behind modding this. I got titles that were delisted that I never got to get. I never got to get the Turtles. I never got to get the Simpsons on here. Now, I did get Contra the arcade game, which got delisted, but there's plenty of arcade games on here to keep me busy, keep me happy. I only put a handful of them that I wanted for the meantime, but I'm going to load this up, man. I think arcade games, Xbox Live arcade games is going to be probably the main focus for me personally on the 360, and for sure I'm going to put 360 games. Now, one thing that's pretty awesome, but I'm all about the original Xbox and hacking that. I'll make some videos on the channel coming here soon, but man, you can play original Xbox games. Now, one thing I'm going to say before I get any further into that is that you're limited. Some games don't run perfect, but a lot of them do. My best bet would be going after the ones that were already backwards compatible with the 360. But for the most part, from what I hear, you can run a lot of these Xbox original games fine. And back to the 360 games, one thing that's awesome are you can do your title updates, your DLC updates. If there's a version of the game that you want to go back to for whatever reason, like with me, Gears Judgment, I personally like the the version that came from the store that was released. I like that before they did all the updates, which we did have updates on 360, very small ones, but a lot of games did have updates. You can change around with that, which is pretty cool, man. Whatever version you want, the DLC, everything. There's like no reason not to mod your 360. And in case anyone was out there that didn't know about this, I just wanted to make a video showing you guys that the Xbox 360 is a pretty awesome machine to mod. Now, I didn't get into the emulation. There is emulation that you could get on there. I have so many devices for emulation. What I wanted was the 360 games and the Xbox Live Arcade, and I'm happy. But hey, the options are there. If you want to mess with this, dig into it. Like I said, I just modded a few systems like last week and the week before. Had a lot of fun, spent a lot of countless hours in the night just doing these because I got excited, man. I got all into it. Right now, I'm all about the Xbox 360. So hopefully you have the same love that I had, can look into these other guys. Mr. Mario, like I said, he's the man. And this guide right here online at xbox360hub.com. Very, very, very good guide, man. And with those, you should be good, man. But anyways, hopefully I'll be catching you guys soon. I do have an interesting mod I'm gonna do that's been out. There's been videos on it's been out for a while for the original Xbox. I do want to make some content on that. Right now I'm going through my phase, man. I'm going through my Xbox phase, so I don't know. Hopefully I'll be bringing some content soon. I know it's been a while, but thank you guys for watching, man. And get to modding your 360.